Hello, welcome to Juhl Media live interview program. My name is Ching Juhl. I am a classical trained violinist, and I teach music right now. And I also am a filmmaker and social media junkie. And since 2020 March, I have been had conversation with 266 66 artists, musicians, filmmakers, entrepreneurs, people from all walks of life. And today I'm so happy to host Ared Spendjian, who is a graphic designer, who is an art what do you call creative art director who has just given us in this spring a wonderful workshop for our Morningside Garden multimedia group. So let's welcome Ared. Hey,
Hello,
Ared.
how are you, Ching?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, great, great. Nice to be
So,
talking to you after all these years.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I've just so many years know you. And I remember how I met you. It's probably like a 12, 13 years ago, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Tell us how we met.
I think we had just moved into Morningside Gardens, and there was some sort of an event. I forget what it was, like a gathering, a get together of all like the people in the buildings. There are six buildings here, and you were performing. You were playing your viola, and that's how my wife Nora and I met you. Like she came up and started talking to you, and since
Yeah.
then we've been friends.
Yeah. She's very what do you call um
Outgoing,
outgoing
not like
and
me.
she came and sang a folk song from
Oh,
Armenian.
that's
Right.
right. I forgot.
Right.
Yes, she did go up there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So and then she gave me a small flyer, say, "Hey, come to my film festival." So, so uh, anyway, so
Yeah.
you are always like a great supporter and kind of a behind the scene person, not bossy around like Nora. So tell us a little bit about let's talk about a little bit about how you support how you making art for this film festival with your knowledge and expertise. Do you find your client, which is a film festival, is very similar to other clients, or is has somewhat a challenge?
It's very similar to other clients, and other clients are a challenge. So this one, maybe not as much of a challenge, but yeah, it's like it's this. This is more of a design exercises that I do mostly for the festival. Once in a while, like whenever there are submitted movies and we want to get people to come in to see the specific movies, then me and a friend of mine who used to be a copywriter in advertising, I was an art director in advertising, so we work together and then we come up with actual ads, which is the difference between just like a piece of like a poster or something very highly designed. The ad is a little bit more conceptual, and it also drives, hopefully, the people to come and see the movie. So yeah.
Yeah. So now, in case people do not know, what is art designing, and can you give us like a short description of what you do?
Yes. What it is down when to encapsulate it, to bring it down to the simplest thing, it's like uh, it's basically creating content to sell a product or to sell an idea. So we use imagery, design, like we use colors, fonts, typefaces to convey a mood, Like different colors convey different moods, different fonts convey different moods, and obviously different images convey different moods. So a combination of these three is you create content that tells a story that hopefully gets the person interested, for them to check out the URL that's on the ad nowadays, and find out more about what it is that you're selling. So that's the basic, like the most the simplistic way of saying what an ad is supposed to do. Also, maybe like a graphic piece. A graphic piece, it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't apply. It doesn't have the same rules. A graphic piece is mostly like to get attention. So it could be, but that also, I mean, that attention could lead somebody to check more into what it is that they've seen. But me being an art director in advertising, I always feel like an ad does heavier lifting to sell an idea or to tell a story.
Yeah. So now, as a art director or graphic designer, what kind of, like, how did you start it with this whole thing? Were you a
Hmm.
an artist where you draw things, you paint, or you are just a naturally visual person? Because I think some people are very visual, some people are
Yes.
very oral, and it's kind of you're born with that. So how was your path to become?
Well, I always liked to draw. When I was Since I was little, I was good at drawing, sketching, doing doodles on my test papers, and also, I like to say that I was born in the country that invented emojis 5,000 years ago. It's like in Egypt, but they were called hieroglyphics. But they are graphic images that you used to see everywhere. So I'm sure that sort of had an effect on my career path. But in high school, I was not thinking of becoming an advertising or an artist, and I was thinking more science, maybe, something like that. But then I changed my mind, and the only thing I could was good at was drawing. So I decided to try advertising, because I knew I wasn't that good of an artist to make a living as a fine artist. And back then, it's like in the '70s, there were some really clever commercials on television, and I really, like, they were funny, they were clever, and I liked them. And I said, I wish I could do that. And let me try that. And so that's how I got into it. But then, yes, I am more of a visual person, and advertising, you're paired up. The art director is paired up with a writer, a copywriter. So you come up with concepts together. It's like mostly bouncing ideas. Like the copywriter can come up with a headline, and then that would spark an image in my head, or vice versa. I would come up with an image, and that would spark something in their head about, oh, we can say this about it. So it becomes like a collaboration, and so it's a two-man team. You never work alone. It's because if you work alone, you don't get any input, whether this is a good idea or bad idea or what. you know
Yeah, so in terms of you have it's not like a composer, right? Writes music and then orchestra
yeah.
performs. I mean, who doesn't really ask the audience or the musician say, do you like this? Well, sometimes in modern music they do that. They have you play these really weird stuff,
Hmm.
and then you tell them that's unplayable. It's like for
Yeah.
violas is really really high. So for you, when you work with a brand, such as you work for these really famous brand, right?
I
Tell
work
us
with
a couple of
yeah.
them.
I've worked in big ad agencies and a couple of little ones, and I've worked. I guess the first famous brand I worked on was Johnny Walker Red, Johnny Walker Black, Tanqueray. Those ones, and those were fun. But it's uh, there was always with the Johnny Walker brand, there was always competition with Chivas Regal. Chivas Regal was in another ad agency, and then we always had to outdo their ad. It's like, oh, Chivas Regal said this, they did this ad for Father's Day. We have to do something even better than that. So there was always a competition, a good competition like that, and so that kind of competition I enjoy, because this field, you're not saving lives, you're not curing cancer, you're not doing anything like that. So at least you feel like you're doing something smarter than the other art director in the other agency. But I've worked on that, and then after that, I've worked at an agency which did a lot of corporate advertising. So, like, say, Goodyear would have, like, our parent agency would do ads for the tires. Our division would do ads for the company. So there was like big brands like that, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley. So yeah, big brands. And then after that, I went to another agency, a bigger agency called Ogilvy Mather, and there I mostly worked on AT&T Mobile, and for 14 years, I worked on DuPont, which is a big
Is
chemical
it
company.
pharmaceutical company, right?
No,
Mhm.
chemical.
Chemical,
They
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do paints. That they have. They also have paints, chemicals. They do lately. They've been getting into the agriculture, like agro business, like making insect, whatever that word is. The thing that kills the insects, and
Yeah.
also, so they've sort of like, they have all kinds of like chemical based products, but that's a
Mhm.
big company. So we used to, my partner and I, and we used to work on that for 12, 13 years. So yeah, it's been mostly big companies, and I can't say that I've worked on like consumer goods products, which to me, they're kind of boring. It's like trying to sell cornflakes or soap, or Tide. I don't know. It just seems like it's very boring. The other kind of advertising, the more corporate, bigger clients, then you have to be a little more clever,
Yeah.
because you're talking to, or you're advertising to smart people, basically.
When
So
when
they
you say advertising product, is this including logo or just the advertise, say on TV or image to put
It's
somewhere?
yeah, the logo design is a much more specialized field, or at least when I was working. I mean, I can play around and do some stuff. I mean, I did the logos for the socially relevant film festival, uh, but you have people who only do logos, and they charge enormous amounts of money, and because the logo represents the company, so it's a big deal. You can't just like throw a couple of things together and say, "Here's your logo." It's they have big name designers. I mean, this is what I was trying to say earlier. Designers in the sense of pure designers, and the logo also has to be a little smart. Like FedEx logo, if people have noticed, there's that arrow between the FEDEX. The X makes an arrow that goes
Mm,
into the rest of the
mm,
words, and it's IBM was
mm,
I mean, that's a great logo. So those people, they really, I mean, they charge a lot of money just for coming up with a logo like that, and it's
mm.
it's really hard because you have to figure out what the company is all about and make a logo that sort of encompasses the company. But
Right.
what I did was mostly like ads, TV commercials, and whatnot. That kind of, yeah. See,
I'm showing
the
you FedEx.
the E,
Not that
yeah,
we're
the
promoting
E and
FedEx.
the X. When you look at the E and the X,
Yeah.
between the E and the X, there's an arrow, which
Oh. Oh.
which is, it's very clever. It's delivering it to the recipient. So there's thought behind it. It's not just
Uh,
like they picked a
right.
fun font and said, okay, this is your logo. There was a little bit of thinking behind it.
Yeah, yeah. So, walk us through just a little bit in short version that how, for instance, if spectrum come to you, okay? I'm just hypothetically. And
Mhm.
do they tell you I want A and B and C, or and then you make one, and then they come back, they see it, or they don't physically come back, and then they give you another feedback, and then you do it again, and then how many feedbacks you accept?
Well, three was the magic number. Three seems to be the magic number in advertising. When you show the client ideas, you usually show them three different ideas, not the same idea done three different times, but like one idea, a second idea, and a third. Seems to be three,
Mm,
and three revision rounds. That also seems to be because lately, because of costs, if it runs into more revision times, then you have to charge the client more.
right,
In when I first started in the business in the 70s, cost was not as big a deal. It's like people did not complain as much about it as it is now, or the clients were not trying. Yeah, I don't know. They were not so tied down with the cost of it. Plus, it wasn't as expensive back then.
yeah,
But yeah, you do get. I've had times where I've gone back like 4 or 5 times and I showed them ideas.
uh-huh,
And when I was working at this one agency, where this was before you get to the client, there's also the internal,
yeah,
like all these people you have to approve the ad.
right, right,
So I remember on one project, it was a TV campaign, TV commercials for Blue Cross Blue Shield.
yeah,
We did the my writer and I, we showed them the three ideas. Our boss wasn't too crazy about them. We went back. We came back with two more. He wasn't too crazy about it. We
yeah,
went back. We came up with another two more, and then he finally picked one. So there's always that. Yeah,
yeah, back and forth, back and forth. Now,
yeah,
I wanted to thank people who are listening to us, and also people who make comments, and you're welcome to make comments, and you're welcome to ask our questions. Now, our everybody in this world, not everybody, almost everybody, became a videographer, and because they always have phone.
yeah,
And
yeah.
now for graphic designer, and how do you feel the new trend compared to 70s and 80s, that people don't even have computer? And do
Yeah.
you feel threatened by these new technology?
Well, I think the biggest threat is this artificial intelligence. Now you open up any, you open up. I work with Adobe suite of these, Photoshop, Illustrator, and they have artificial intelligence. You can type in what an image you want, or you find an image that's almost like what you have in mind, and then you can type in how to change it, how to retouch it, what to make it, and yeah, we used to have to imagine these things back in the 70s and 80s, and then we'd sketch it on paper, and then if the client approved the sketch, we would go and get a photographer to shoot exactly what they approved. Now you can just type in whatever you want. It takes what, 30 seconds for the AI to come up with the three options, and then if you don't like them, you hit again and they come up with three more options. So yeah, I think it's the business is now not the same, definitely, but I also think that the quality of the work is not there. I think because clients want everything much faster, or they're used to getting it much faster now since with the computer, and so they expect people to just come up with 5, 6, 7 different ways of doing something, and they'll say no. Then you go back, and then the same day you come up with a few more ideas. So it's not the same. We used to have a lot of time. We used to have 2 weeks for an assignment, uh, and you did it, and then there was all kinds of input from your bosses. So you had to do all the revisions before it even went to the client. But it was a process where so many people, for good or bad, they had their opinions. Sometimes it helped, and sometimes it made the work better, but most of the time it just made the work different. And now the computer decides. Yeah. So I think it's advertising suffers because of this.
Now, speaking of computer, I started to use Apple 2008, which is quite not that early. And
Mm.
are you very techy? And do you find the new technology does help you and help your creativity?
Uh, I guess I haven't. I mean, I would say now that I'm kind of retired. I'm like 70% retired. I still do some work, but the only thing I use the is to doodle around, to play around, and then try to draw in Illustrator. Try to I don't know, retouch things for myself in Photoshop, and I have been relying more and more on artificial intelligence. So I guess it helps that way. Uh, Ads, I still do some, do work with a friend of mine for nonprofits, pro bono, and I still haven't. I don't know. I have not gone that way where I would ask the AI to come up with this idea. You still need an idea. You still has to come from somebody's head, from a human person's head. I don't believe that the computer can come up with an idea for you right now. It's not there. So you have to come up with the idea, and the computer can help you visualize your idea. Basically, then you can see, is it working? Is it not working? So it helps in that way. It doesn't, you just can't press a button and boof, an idea will come up and all done. No, that's not going to happen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would like to talk about your work in the visual sense. And here is your website.
No, this is my CV resume.
Oh, okay. CV. Let's go back.
Yeah.
This is your page
Yeah.
on website. Now, should we talk about which category? I want to show our audience some of your work.
Uh, I have been a print person like all
Mhm.
along. I love print.
Print.
It's
Okay.
yeah. So I more than I like
Mhm.
television or video.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, these top two were for DuPont.
Uh-huh.
They have like I said, DuPont has a lot of products. This is for Kevlar gloves for industrial use. The one on the right, and then the one on the left is they've got these I guess they're water purifiers for animals. It's like so that they won't get diseases
Uh-huh.
because after all, like we will eat the pig, and if the pig is diseased, then
Mhm.
that we're gonna get it. So
Mhm.
they've got like all kinds of products like that, and
Mhm.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I feel
Very
this.
eye catching.
Yeah, well, with print, one of the reasons I love print
Yeah.
is that
Let me make it
you've
bigger.
got like 3 seconds to grab the viewer's attention.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't work in the first 3 seconds, it will
Mm.
never, they'll pass over it. So the image has to be very striking. The headline has got to work with the image.
Mhm.
And hopefully the person reading, sees this in a magazine will stop and read.
Yeah. It's very funny. Remember, we are what they drink. So it's like you don't
We are
say,
what, yeah, the saying is like we are what they eat. So, but it's true. It's like because
yeah,
this was to help clean water.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Now this is very interesting.
This was
Uh,
for, yeah,
Mount
Mount
Sinai.
Sinai. Yeah,
Yeah.
I worked on that too, and it's
Uh-huh.
about a process, or a couple of. Let me see if I remember exactly what this was. This was that they had discovered a way of treating specific cancers, like treating him for the person, not making like a drug that's for everybody. And the way they did it was they saw that they would put the person's cancer into a firefly because fireflies lifespan is 19 days. I'm trying to remember. But anyway, so it would be much more accelerated. They would see how the cancer would advance and they would make drugs to fight it. So, but this is that one person's cancer. It's not everybody's. So they treat, it's individual treatment.
Hmm.
So this was a few years ago. Yeah. So again,
That's
trying to
cool.
make it a little more eye catching.
Yeah, that's very cool. Let's see. Let's pick on something else. Uh, Good radiance. And this is very interesting to me. It's
Yeah,
simple. Yeah.
yeah. The whole premise of this is that DuPont came to us and said that because their name is recognizable, DuPont, and they make coatings like for wires. They mostly it's like very boring materials, but uh, their name was becoming like Kleenex. Kleenex. Now, when you go and get a tissue, everybody says it's Kleenex, where there's all kinds of different brands as well. But because Kleenex was the first one, everybody says Kleenex. So their brand was being used, like Teflon, that name was being used uh, by everybody. So they wanted to remind people that just saying Teflon is not really right. It's identity theft, basically.
Oh, I see. And so I was just thinking when you design something, right? And
Hmm.
now that musically, when you play something on YouTube and YouTube has this really strict way, say you cannot use this music, you have violated the copyright stuff. And
Yeah.
sometimes severely they will, punish you. If it's not severely, they just say, can you share your revenue? Now, what about you? When you design a logo, how do you make sure nobody is copying you? Are you making a, what do you call, pattern or what?
No, it's a little bit different for advertising. With a logo, I guess you can trademark it, and then it becomes yours. And but ads, they belong to the client. So these ads, they belong to DuPont, to Castrol, to Mount Sinai, and but because it's on a personal website that really it's not very trafficked. Nobody goes there. It's okay. I remember a few years ago there was the agency I was at. They sent out a memo saying that you cannot just take these ads that you created for these people and put them on your website. But that made a big uproar because everybody that's the only way to get work in advertising. You show on your website all the work you've done so that somebody from another agency will say, oh, this guy's clever, let's get him. So that became like a big issue. But I think they dropped it after a while. But there's no way with an ad, there's no way they can say you can't show it.
Hmm. Yeah. And this one is very interesting to me.
Yeah, this is for a financial technology company, and the saying that things change in the blink of an eye. So it's like you blink, and all this stuff happens. Like the cars
Mhm.
drive you, have become like self-driving cars. Their governments rise and fall. So it's basically just to say that they are they can get you, the investor, information very fast, like almost like a blink in the eye, so that you can make decisions on what to invest in. This is for people like who like hedge funds, and this was talking to those kinds of people who want to invest in companies like Tesla or something like that. So it's yeah.
And it's interesting. Look at the eyeball. I
Mhm.
see the reflection of the city. Is that
Yeah.
intentionally?
No, this was like sometimes it's serendipitous. You find you spend a lot of time looking for just the right image.
Mhm.
There's a lot lately. It's just been a lot of these clients, especially like this one was a startup, and they don't want to go out and spend thousands and thousands of dollars for to shoot one image. So they get stock photography.
Mhm.
So, but then again, from my side, it's like I spend a lot of time looking for just the right image that's got all the little elements that I don't have to spend time to retouch if I can find it. Yeah, it's a like you passed by a bear. That was like that was for Morgan Stanley. That was the case there. Like they had not advertised in Morgan Stanley, and we were
Mhm.
doing their first ad campaign, and so we had this idea that the saying is like, there's the bulls and the bears in the stock market, and somebody said this thing. It's like, your offering is just like it's just opened up and the bears smell breakfast. So we said that's a cool line. Let's but then I had to look for a month to get the right bear. And with these people, this was like in early 90s. This is when stock photography started becoming a big thing, because they after they saw this, like we had to present them this image and what the headline was, and so they saw this and they said, well, this is it. Why do you have to go out and shoot a bear? You've got the image. So that's why it's like now it becomes the art director's job, since we're going to be relying on stock, to find just the right stock.
What
So
kind of a place this will use? It's like where, because the
the
text is
ad,
pretty small.
no, this was a spread. It was like a two-page ad in Fortune magazine, or in like all the Fortune, Forbes, maybe Atlantic.
Wow.
But there was also a version of this for a full page in the New York Times and Wall
Wow.
Street Journal. Yeah.
Awesome. So, all right, let's back to talk about you. I always like to find out, which I already asked you earlier, and tell us a little bit about your background. I know were born in wait,
Egypt.
Egypt. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So how was the journey from born there and then eventually come to New York City? Can you do a quick
Hmm.
yeah.
Well, it's yeah, we came here in 1968. We went to Lebanon first from Egypt, and then we signed up with the State Department, or I forget. I think it was like, no, it was an organization that was helping people get out of the Middle East at the time, because there was wars and there was all kinds of persecution and whatnot. So we signed up with them, and we waited until we got the okay from the State Department. So we were in Lebanon for 6 months or something like that, and then we came here. And my grandmother and my uncle were already here, so we came to New York, to Long Island, and
Yeah,
been here since
so
then.
compared to your journey, right? I was born in Shanghai and I came here to further my music career. Uh, and I had no idea I would stay. Just
Mm.
no idea about Western world what it looked like, because there was no television and there was no news about anything, right? In those years. Uh, but you are from Egypt and must be very different, background. And what's the main reason for coming here? Is that because you think America has better art, or so-called American dream?
Uh, I think it was, well, I was too little to know all those things, but I think it was because 1967 there was war in the Middle East, and things were not not very great, and my father had died also in 1967. So my mother, I guess her sisters in Lebanon decided or thought that the best opportunity for somebody raising two young kids would be in America. Like, well, what are our options? We can't stay in Lebanon. It's not. It's like you're still in the Middle East. So the only option was to come to America. As I said, my grandmother and my uncle were here already, and my uncle had a house, had just bought a house, and so we moved into upstairs of the house, and we were like together again. So the main reason was uncertainty in the Middle East, and to this day, it still hasn't changed. So it was from that part, I think it was a good decision to come here. Uh, the other options, I don't know. Also, France maybe, or Europe in general. But we had the support system here. We had my uncle and my grandmother, so we came here, and I went to high school. Yeah, so that's where.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yeah.
why your English is so good, and not like a second language, and you speak more than English, and also your what do you call Armenian?
Yeah,
What
Armenian.
do you call that language?
My mother tongue.
No, no,
My mother.
no,
Yeah,
from Armenian.
it's
From your country,
Armenian.
Egypt. Egypt. Oh, Arab,
Oh, Arabic. Arabic. I haven't
Arabic.
used. I haven't used Arabic in, well,
Oh,
forever. So my Arabic is. I can say a couple of things, but that's about it. But
you
not.
can get by because I know you go back to your country every
No,
year. No.
no. I go back to Armenia. I can get
Okay.
back. I get back in Armenia, but in Egypt, I feel no. I went a couple of years ago, and they laugh at me when I try to speak. They say,
Yeah.
"You go over there."
Yeah. Go over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of Armenian, and I cannot help to ask your wife, Nora Amani, and who I have been working with also for more than 10 years. And now, when you design her music festival
Mhm.
flyer, how does that work? Like, does she tell you one, two, three, and then you come up something?
No, I mean, that's. I usually I look around for inspiration. I look at other film festival posters, or their websites, or whatever. It's like how their social media, and what the ads, what they do, and so I try to get inspiration like that. The very first year, I had no clue what to do because I'd never done anything for a film festival, so it was horrible. And then slowly, you learn, you adjust, you do this, and we were trying to keep it very graphic in the beginning, because without any images, because, well, you've got like 50 or 70 different movies. How do you can't have like one image representing 70 different kinds of movies. But slowly, we over the years, we figured out what this festival was, like this socially relevant film festival. So you try to think of an image that brings that idea across, like socially relevant. For a couple of years, I was thinking, I used what do you call that? A dandelion, where the leaves are, yeah, they're like not the leaves, these little things go off, because it was the rationing behind that is that you're spreading the word about all these socially relevant, uh, I don't know, causes
Yeah.
that people should be aware of. So
Yeah.
I use that as for the first couple of years, and then I just, this last year, we decided to go with an image, with an
Mhm.
actual photograph, but try to do it like, just like manipulate it a little bit to make it say diverse. And
Mhm.
I think it's in the that posters in the print section.
Oh, printed section.
Oh no, is it me all the way down at the bottom?
Uh, the digital banner ads, and
Oh,
then
these are, yeah.
yeah,
So the
I don't
poster,
think
I
it's
think I
there.
put it in the print section. These are
Oh,
just like different types of digital banners that I've done.
uh-huh.
This is something that these are the ones that I do with a friend of mine, and my friend Charlie. We do pro bono for an anti-gun organization that uh, tries to. It's a lobbying
Good, good.
organization, and these are some of the individual ads
Yeah.
for different films from
Whoops.
the past.
Digital. Yeah.
No,
So
yeah,
look, who is this?
that's you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
The story, her story, very interesting. Right?
yeah.
You
Because
made it.
you were talking about, you were conveying your story, which was very historical.
Uh-huh.
It's something in history.
Uh-huh.
So these ones, like, I've worked with, as I was saying, that they're a little bit different than just a pure graphic sense, because
Yeah.
there's an idea. We're trying to convey a message, what the movie's about.
Mm,
So yeah.
yeah. And also fonts with the words, right? because sometimes you don't use that much word, and in this
Yeah.
sense you use much more words.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and so once you decided, and do you show to Nora and then go back and forth more than 3 times?
Uh, Not that many times because, like I say, enough is enough. Like,
That's
I'll
funny.
do one, and
Uh,
if you don't like it, I'll do one more.
yeah.
So this was this last year's. We
Oh
moved
yeah.
away from just like a very, I don't know, representational kind of an image or
Yeah.
very metaphoric image to going to
Yeah.
a person,
Uh-huh.
and but still the person uh, has to convey this
Yeah.
diversity kind of.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we played around with this, like retouched it a little bit.
Yeah, this one is very dynamic. It's last year's poster, and
Hmm.
yeah, I think the image is very striking and with different colors and representing like different type of people, right?
Yeah, different social issues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know what I'm going to do for this year. I don't know. It's going to be
It's
tough
a
to beat
challenge.
this. But I guess going forward, it's going to be uh, people
Yeah.
I can see as opposed to just like
Hmm.
the dandelion,
Yeah, I think
metaphoric.
I play a lot of Instagram, right? And I still my Instagram brand is Juhl Media. It's not
Hmm.
Ching Juhl. Ching Juhl is a different Instagram. I only talk about music. But I find whenever I post myself with a bigger head, I
Yeah,
got more likes.
yeah. That's my son Armin said that uh, people attract, like people will look at a face, like when you're looking through Instagram, if they see a face, they'll stop a little longer. So that was also one of the reasons, like this year we decided, or last year we decided to have a person on in the poster as opposed to
Hmm.
just like a metaphoric uh, dandelion.
Wow, that's interesting. And I wanted to thank our guests making comments and who are listening as well. And let's see who is here. I'll go backwards. Okay. And Jackie is here. Jackie was on my program. Jackie is a writer and actress. Also, I met her in
Hmm.
Socially Relevant Festival.
Oh,
She's a judge for, I
oh,
think, script or something. And thank you, Jackie. And Colette is my friend. She's a film buffer and she's very active on social media and a great supporter. And we have also earlier we have Charlie was here. Hi, Charlie. Thanks
yeah,
for supporting us. And Charlie made a comment. I can bring that comment on the what do you call panel. Charlie said, "Our directions and copywriters are becoming prompt directors and prompt writers."
this is true. It's like this. You have to write the prompt in the AI field. So you have to say, "This is the make a picture of this something like this and this color." So those are called prompts. So that we're becoming like prompt like descriptors. Yeah,
I see. Like a
yeah,
model, right? There is when you go
yeah,
to Wix, there is a pamphlet.
yeah,
You
kind of. But the prompt is what you input into the field in the AI.
uh,
You type in what it is that you want it to do for you. So you prompt it to do this.
uh,
So that it's not you're not imagining it. You're not thinking it. It's like, yeah, you're writing it. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And then Colette echoed, Charlie says, Charlie, it's an unfortunate phenomenon that has become prevalent in the film business as well.
yeah. Well, there was a big strike last year, right? And it was all about AI taking over because if you can write a script, if the you can just type into to the AI, I want a story about a boy and a girl, and they have a dog, and they live in such a place, and he has this car. Then the AI will write you an entire script or a story. So it's like, what are we supposed to do? I love it when people say, well, the artificial intelligence will give people time to become creative. Really, is that what's going to happen? People are just going to sit around and do nothing, and it's not a good idea to,
Mm,
to have artificial intelligence. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, Jackie made a comment, says, "Thank you for hosting Ching. Excited to hear more about Ared's design history." That's nice. Ared's always very humble and kind of like earlier I said, a behind the scene person. So when he did a workshop for us in April, and I was like so happy to hear what he has to say, and giving us a tutorial of in general designing 101. It's hard
I
to
was,
talk about
yeah.
designing in 1 hour and a half, right?
I'm amazed that people would be interested in advertising and design. It's like I find that I don't know. It's like films are more interesting. Writing a book is more interesting. Advertising, yeah, I don't know. It's gotten boring to me. Back when I first started, it was interesting. It felt like, well, here's people have watched the AMC series Mad Men. I think I
Mhm.
started just after that era ended. So, but that was a good show in that sometimes it showed the actual way of people worked, like the way they were creating ads, the way they were creating TV commercials. That it was very close to truth. It was true. Yeah. So that is a great example if somebody wants to see how things were done before computers, advertising BC. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think when you had that workshop in April, there were a lot of people attended, and you think graphic designer is kind of a nerdy thing, right? But it's used in so many places.
It's
People
it's all
interested.
around.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right,
design is all around. It's
right.
like you start from buildings to signs to everything like it's a fork maybe design. That's like there's all kinds of different designs. Yeah,
Right. Like
yeah,
website people are interested in the most, I
yeah,
think, and then logo, and then
yeah,
flyers. People make flyers everywhere,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
whether digital or in physical piece,
Yes,
where people spread around. Still,
yeah.
people like to hold a piece of paper in
Oh
their.
yeah. I read somewhere that mail is coming back.
Hmm.
I worked in one agency in their direct mail division. Direct mail, like when I went there, people told me, "Oh, it's junk mail. Why do you want to create junk mail?" But I thought that it would give me longevity because junk mail was starting to become more creative. They needed art directors and writers to be more clever, so that when you get it in your mailbox, you would notice it. But all that went away with digital when people started doing digital ads. Now digital ads are everywhere. You cannot get away from, like, you open up your smartphone, there's already like a little thing at the bottom, there's another one that comes in, there's another one that comes in. It's just worse than newspapers and magazines were. So I read that people are starting to think that maybe the way to get attention of their audience is to go back to like junk mail, like something that goes through the post office and you get it. It's an actual physical thing that you read. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to also thank Nora Amani for being with us and listening to us and supporting Ared. And now, Ared, as a art director and graphic designer, can you pinpoint 3 things people should not do in terms of what you do?
Uh, Simplicity is the best way. Just like you can't have, it's got to be a simple visually. One, you can't have like more than two ideas in a flyer. I've seen people just jam pack all kinds of things in there, and also it's got to be something that touches the person. It's got to be relevant to the person. So if you're just like, I don't know, excuse me, if the story doesn't touch the person, it'll be tossed. You know, now the big buzzword is storyteller. It was always about telling a story, but now they've got that word, oh, storyteller. You have to be a storyteller. Well, I got news for you. In the '70s, all the ads, the commercials that really are, they're considered great are people who've told a story. Maybe they didn't use that expression, but that's what it was.
Yeah, that's so true. I think about many medium. You'll think writing, right? First thing, telling
Yeah,
stories. Uh, Even when you try to like these TED talks, they're so good because they can tell stories in a very dynamic way,
yeah,
and people post like when I post on my YouTube. No, Facebook mostly. Facebook, right? At Ching Juhl. Check
mhm,
my Facebook. uh, Instead of just put a picture on, right? I try to tell a really short story, like say the beach, okay, Montauk.
yeah,
I will say I went to the beach of Montauk to stress myself, de-stress myself. This is what I see. So
mm,
I mean, very short, right?
yeah,
So that's a storytelling, and then you storytelling, of course, in film and television and many medium. Yeah, so that's
yeah.
so true. Yeah, and we're going to end pretty soon. Nora said, in fact, I trust Ara with the design. If I look at three versions, it is only to make sure the copy and what we are trying to say reaches the right audience in the right way. The image is Ara's area. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, Uh, I'll ask a very personal question. Okay, all right, you don't have to answer. So Nora has been uh, I mean, create this film festival for so many years, right?
Yeah.
And as a husband, during a month before, or during 2 months before, how how was your life like? Your life?
Well, the first few years, my life was yeah, up and down, because that's what it was. But now, the last few years, I've realized that it's always going to be like that. So just like I sit back and I take a breath, because I know at the end everything works out. I mean, that's like in life also. Like with the festival, I know Nora goes through periods of, oh my God, there's not enough films this year. Or too many films. It's like, but then at the end of during the festival, everything works out. People don't, I don't know, they come away okay. They're happy with it. So I realize that with everything, it's like creating ads, just like in the end, everything works out. Yeah. So I've become very zen. How's that?
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. You're always kind of a calm and laid back. And we have one comment. Colette says, "Question for Ara: which decade had the greatest change in your industry, in your opinion?"
I would say the '90s, because that's when, like, it was 91, 92 when I first got my first Mac at work. And up until then, I used to take a sketch pad and sketch out my ideas and show them to my boss like that. And if they okayed the idea, then we would go to an outside artist who would do it in magic markers in a finished way, and then we would show that to the client. But with a computer, as soon as we started using the computer, first of all, I, as an art director, had to become a typesetter, because like you could set the type yourself. Why send it out? That put out a lot of typesetters out of business. Then,
What
then
is the typesetter?
it's like,
What
you
is
see the when you look at an ad, there's a writing on it. That's typeset.
oh
Before, we used to, like in the '70s, like we used to send it to a specialty place. They had machines, and they would type all that stuff, and you'd get a big sheet, and you would tell them what fonts to use, how big to make it, all that stuff. And then I would get like a sheet filled with all this type, and then I'd have to cut each one and paste it to for pre-press. So I would paste it into the ad, and that would go to the engraver along with the artwork. Now since the 90s, like I become a typesetter. I have to make the type. I have to choose the font. Like already, I had to choose the font, but I would make it exactly the way I want it to fit, where to fit, and once computers became started becoming like taking hold, then stock agencies like photo stock agencies started growing, because then you would, instead of having, if the font, like if the type is set and it looks like it's finished, you don't want to have a sketch behind it to show the client your idea. So what you would do is you would look for a picture from a online, like a stock photography house, and then you would download it, and you would put the font on top of it. Like the bear is a great example. The bear was from a stock photographer, stock photography house. So then I would typeset the the copy myself. So you would show something that looked like a finished ad, like it was shot, it was typeset, and it was printed to the client. Then they became lazy and saying, "Well, okay, there's no need for us to spend like $70,000 to take a picture of a bear, like hire a photographer and do something like that. Why not just find more stock imagery for the other ads?" So 92, I remember it started changing like that.
Wow. It's
Before that,
interesting.
we had to think about it, like imagine it,
Yeah.
and then have it shot. Now, with stock photography, like say you imagine something, you have to find the image that closely came to what your idea is, like the closest thing to it. Yeah,
Yeah. This is like evolve in the media, visual art, right? They use film at first. Now
yeah,
it's all become digital, and
yeah,
certain people still uses film.
yeah,
And then we used to have those tape, like going this. I used to listen to them, when I was an undergrad student at the
yeah,
conservatory, and then became what, tape, right? And then became CD, and then
yeah.
actually I heard actually people are going back to tapes. They
Huh.
like tapes. Very
Well,
interesting.
I know that the LPs, albums
Oh,
are also,
LP, right?
they're
I missed
coming
it.
back. Yeah,
Right, right, LP.
yeah.
So, all right, thank you so much. And Nora was saying, she said, the social Zen film festival coming soon to a theater near you. So you guys, check out socially relevant film festival. Yeah, and now at we're at the end our conversation, and I'm gonna do a rapid fire with Ared. Before doing that, I wanted to thank you again, Ared, for being a
My
great
pleasure.
guest and shared with us with so much knowledge and inside stories. And please check his website. And also, I like I said, I am a social media junkie. On this channel, I think I reach almost the 7,000 subscribers, and I do YouTube shorts, which I only talk about music, talk about how to play the violin. So for those of you, especially Nora, and she wants to study violin, go check check my YouTube shorts. And also video wise, I try to create videos every week or maybe every other 2 weeks. They are like a travel, how to. I don't know, protest, political stuff, and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, very mixed. And what else? Yeah, then I do this live interview quite often. Yeah, once a week or once every two times a month. So please like our post. And Ara has a wait. Ara, do you have a YouTube channel?
No,
No. Okay. So yeah, when you watch
I am an antisocial social person.
antisocial. And yeah, if you like my work, please subscribe, liking it, give a thumb up, and then share. Okay. And so, all right, are you ready for my rapid fire?
Are you ready for my answers? Okay.
Okay. Favorite color?
I'll go with blue.
Blue. All right. What is your favorite dish?
Pasta.
How's that? Okay. And do you have a favorite television show?
No, I don't
Oh,
actually.
so you don't watch
Yeah.
much TV.
No, I'm in front of the computer a lot, unfortunately. So whatever I watch, it's like whatever I see on YouTube or any other, I don't
Yeah.
know, videos.
All time
TV,
films. Films.
films, my favorite films, I like Angel Heart. Yeah,
I don't even know. Enjoy.
it's an old movie
Oh,
with
okay.
Robert De Niro and Mickey Rourke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Best part of being a father.
seeing my son grow and become independent.
That's awesome. Yeah. I just was it, no, your son's name is
Armen.
Armin. Yeah,
Yeah,
Ared Armin. Yeah, he's doing great. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, now, what useless skills?
What useless skills? Mm. I
One
think
useless skill.
I think everything is useless. Like I do. Uh, I don't know. I'm interested in history. Is that a skill? I mean, I listen to a lot of like YouTube channel history things,
No,
and
that's not a
usually
skill. That's
that's not
a
a
hobby.
hobby. Okay. I don't know. Bicycle riding, and I haven't ridden it in 40 years, so it's a useless skill now.
Uh, okay, so the place you're kind of an international traveler. The place you haven't been, you want to travel.
Portugal.
Oh, I love Portugal. I want to go back.
I
It's
want to
so
go
nice.
for the first time.
Yeah, go to Porto. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Porto is more interesting than Lisbon. All right. Yeah. So what else? Any junk food?
Cut back on a lot of junk food. My weakness is cheese. I eat a lot of cheese. It's not good. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's not junk, but it's not healthy.
Is this
Cholesterol.
is this an Armenian thing or is a French thing?
I think it's a French thing mostly because my
Yeah.
father went to college in France, and so there was like he was big on I don't know, onion soup and cheese and things like that. Yeah, all the French
It's
foods.
very strange. I've been France a couple of times, and first of all, after dinner,
Yeah,
then they treat you a whole cart of cheese coming out. That's very
yeah,
strange, huh? Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry,
I always
no
start.
offense, French people.
No, I start with the cheese. I tell them don't bother with the dinner. Just bring the cheese. That's what I do.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. All right. So, last question, very easy. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And
My
we're gonna
pleasure,
end
Ching.
it. Yeah, and I'll see you soon
Okay,
in
I'll see you.
the gardens.
Yeah,
Okay, everybody, thank you guys so much. And yeah, have a wonderful Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Okay? Yeah. Take
you
care.
too. Have a great weekend.
Take care. I'm gonna end now.